Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're tackling a monster of a topic that is so often misunderstood: international retirement and work credits. If you've ever worked outside your home country, or if you plan to, you might be terrified of paying double taxes or worried you'll never see a dime of the retirement benefits you're paying into. Well, today we are going to break down the complexities of international work credits, clear up all the confusion, and show you exactly how to protect your hard-earned money. Here's the roadmap for today. First, the expat tax trap. Then, totalization agreements explained. After that, combining your work credits, calculating prorated benefits, and finally, exactly how to claim those benefits. Let's get into it. Part 1. The expat tax trap and the real danger of a split career. So, what actually happens to your retirement if you split your career across borders? I mean, really think about it. You put in a few years in the US, maybe a few in Germany, and then head over to the UK. Well, if you aren't careful, you could literally lose a huge chunk of your wealth to double taxation. And worse, you might end up qualifying for absolutely zero retirement benefits in any of those countries. Yeah, zero. Without an international agreement in place, you fall under the default rule, which is called the territoriality rule. Basically, this means you could be forced to pay Social Security taxes to both countries on the exact same earnings. If you're self-employed, oh man, that means paying a brutal 15.3% self-employment tax to the US, right on top of whatever your host country is demanding. It's a total trap. But with an agreement in place, you pay a single Social Security tax, and this is the best part, you get to combine your work credits for eligibility. Moving to Part 2, Totalization Agreements Explained. This is your shield against double taxation. Let's nail down exactly what we're talking about here. Totalization agreements are bilateral treaties between the United States and foreign countries, and they do two really critical things. First, they prevent double Social Security taxation, and second, they let you combine your international work credits. Now hold on, a super crucial distinction here. These agreements do not cover income taxes. That's a totally different thing. That's what income tax treaties are for. Totalization agreements are specifically laser-focused on Social Security and Medicare contributions. So, the magic number to remember here is 30. The US currently has active totalization agreements with 30 countries. We're mostly talking about European nations, the UK, Germany, France, plus places like Australia, Chile, Japan, and South Korea. But here's the catch. If you're working in a country outside of this list, like Singapore, Mexico, or the UAE, these protections just don't apply, and you are absolutely facing the risk of dual taxation. Okay, so how do these agreements actually decide where you pay? Well, it all comes down to something called the detached worker rule. Basically, if your U.S. employer sends you abroad for 5 years or less, you stay attached to the U.S. system and you only pay U.S. Social Security taxes. Pretty simple. But if you're hired directly by a foreign employer, or your assignment stretches over 5 years, then you switch over and pay only into the host country's system. Actually, one quick side note here, Italy is a unique exception to this whole thing. Their agreement doesn't actually impose that 5-year constraint. Part 3. Combining your work credits. Let's look at how to piece together your retirement. To really grasp why this matters so much, think about the number 40. Typically, to qualify for U.S. retirement benefits strictly on your own, you need 40 quarters of coverage. To put that into perspective, that translates to 10 solid years of work paying into the U.S. system. So imagine you work 8 years in the U.S. and then move abroad forever. Without an agreement, you get absolutely nothing from the U.S. system, just a big zero. But wait, here is a number that literally changes everything. 6. Under a totalization agreement, to have your foreign credits counted towards your U.S. eligibility, you only need a minimum of 6 U.S. credits. Guys, that's just 1.5 years of work in the U.S. If you hit that tiny minimum, you can actually use your foreign work history to bridge the gap and reach that 40-quarter requirement. Let's make this concrete and see how it plays out in the real world. Meet Michael. Michael spent 8 years working in the U.S., which gives him 32 quarters of U.S. coverage. So he falls short of that 40-quarter minimum we just talked about. He then packs up, moves to the UK, and works there for 12 years. Remember, without an agreement, Michael gets absolutely no U.S. pension. Section 4. Calculating prorated benefits. Let's break down how the math actually works. Okay, here's how the totalizing effect completely saves Michael's retirement. The U.S. Social Security Administration looks at his record and says, all right, Michael only has 8 U.S. years. But because of the US-UK agreement, we're going to count his 12 UK years too. So 8 plus 12 gives him a 20-year total work history. Boom. Because 20 years is well over that 10-year minimum, Michael is now officially eligible for U.S. retirement benefits.
Now, while the eligibility is combined, the payouts are proportional. Here is exactly how the math works for that. The U.S. calculates an initial theoretical benefit as if Michael's entire 20-year career had been worked under the U.S. system. But they don't just hand him that full amount. Instead, his benefit is reduced to a prorated fraction that represents his actual U.S. contributions. Since he worked 8 out of those 20 combined years in the U.S., he receives a proportional benefit based strictly on those 8 years. Honestly, it's incredibly fair. You get exactly what you paid for, but the treaty ensures you don't lose it all on some frustrating technicality.
And oh wow, we have a massive 2025 update here. The windfall elimination provision, you might know it as WEP, was fully repealed retroactively to January 2024. This is huge. Previously, expats faced these massive U.S. benefit reductions, sometimes losing hundreds of dollars a month just because they also received a foreign pension. But as of 2025, those penalties are completely gone. Expats get to keep their full prorated U.S. benefits and their foreign pensions, with none of those unfair offsets. Part 5. How to claim benefits and how to actually take action on your credits. All right, here is the exact procedural breakdown you need to follow. Step 1, you absolutely must apply for a certificate of coverage to prove you're exempt from double taxation while you're working. Step 2, when it's finally time to retire, you can actually file your claim for both countries' benefits at just one agency. So either the U.S. Social Security Administration or the foreign agency. And step 3, the agencies will directly share your records with each other. Seriously, you don't have to carry a briefcase full of foreign tax documents across the ocean. They handle the whole data exchange for you. I really want to pause and emphasize that first step, the certificate of coverage. Employers, and especially self-employed expats, you need to request this as early as possible. Ideally, before the foreign work even begins. You can grab it online or via mail through the SSA's Office of International Programs. You just need basic information, your full name, date of birth, U.S. Social Security number, and your exact dates and country of hire. Getting the certificate in your hands is literally the only way to stop foreign tax authorities from demanding dual taxes on your paycheck. I want to highlight this critical quote straight from the Social Security Administration's own guidelines. It says, "Your credits are not actually transferred from one country to the other. They remain on your record in the country where they were earned." So what does this mean for you? It means combining credits doesn't force you to give up your foreign pension rights. Your UK credits stay in the UK to build your UK pension, and your US credits stay right here in the US. They simply acknowledge each other to help you cross that finish line of eligibility in both systems. So, I'll leave you with this question. Are you leaving your international hard work on the table? Totalization agreements are an incredibly powerful tool, but they do require you to be proactive. Take some time to review your global career timeline. Check if your host countries have active treaties. Make absolutely sure you get that certificate of coverage, and when the time finally comes, confidently claim the proportional benefits you are rightfully owed from every single system you've paid into. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.